everyone, now let's talk about Module 5, which is Atmosphere. Air consists of a mixture of about 78% nitrogen, 21% oxygen, 0.04% carbon dioxide, and 0.95% of other gases like argon and water vapor. So how do we even determine the composition of air? You can separate it into its components by liquefaction as well as fractional distillation. So you'll first start by liquefying the air at a very low temperature. So among the major components, nitrogen has the lowest boiling point. So if I want to make them into liquid, I need to bring the temperature down below the boiling point of nitrogen. So that would be below 196 degrees Celsius. And then you will just heat them to the respective boiling points of the gas to separate them by fractional distillation. So you'll start by raising it to about negative 196, where you'll be able to get nitrogen. You raise it further to negative 186, you'll get argon. And then you raise it even further to negative 183 and you'll get oxygen. A major problem that we are facing in cities especially is air pollution. And that happens when you are introducing pollutants that have harmful effects on living organisms as well as the environment. These pollutants can be produced naturally or by human activities. So now let's go over the pollutants that we encounter. The first is carbon monoxide, which occurs when you have incomplete combustion of carbon-containing fuels. The problem with carbon monoxide is that it can combine with the hemoglobin in your blood, and hemoglobin is responsible for transporting oxygen around the body. So if carbon monoxide binds to hemoglobin, your hemoglobin can no longer bind to the oxygen, which means that some parts of your body might not get as much oxygen as it requires. So that is what happens when you have carbon monoxide poisoning. Another pollutant is CH4 or methane, and this occurs naturally when you have the decomposition of plant and animal matters by bacteria in the absence of oxygen. It is a greenhouse gas, and we'll talk a bit more about the greenhouse effect later on. Nitrogen oxides can be produced naturally during lightning or during combustion of nitrogen in engines due to the high temperatures. Nitrogen oxides can cause breathing difficulties and also results in the formation of acid rain. We also have sulfur dioxide, and this is produced when you combust coal and fossil fuels, which can contain a bit of sulfur in them, and also by volcanoes. Sulfur dioxides are a problem because they cause breathing difficulties and also result in the formation of acid rain. Unburned hydrocarbons are produced when you have incomplete combustion of fuels in the engines, and these lead to the formation of ground-level ozone. And so ozone themselves are also a pollutant, and it can be produced by the reaction of nitrogen oxides with unburned hydrocarbons. Ozone results in breathing difficulties, headaches, and fatigue. So how do we stop air pollution? One solution is to use a catalytic converter, which is placed in the exhaust system of the car. It consists of catalysts made up of platinum, palladium, and rhodium, which will help to convert carbon monoxide, nitrogen oxides, and unburned hydrocarbons into nitrogen, oxygen, carbon dioxide, and water. The catalytic converter has a honeycomb structure, which helps to increase the surface area such that it can catalyze more reactions. Another source of all the pollutants, as you saw earlier, comes from the burning of fossil fuels. Burning of these fuels produce flue gas. So when we want to remove the sulfur dioxide from the gas, this process is known as flue gas desulfurization. This is used in major sulfur dioxide producers, such as in power plants, which burns a large amount of fossil fuels every day. Limestone is mixed with water and sprayed onto the flue gas, which will react with the gas to convert the sulfur into calcium sulfate, thereby removing it from the gas that is being produced. The ozone layer is an important part of the atmosphere and is formed by radiation from the sun. It helps to absorb UV radiation from the sun. Ozone depletion is caused by chlorofluorocarbons, which are found in aerosol propellants, refrigerants, and plastic foams. Chlorine and oxygen radicals can be produced, the chlorine from the chlorofluorocarbons, the oxygen radicals from the air, and from oxygen in the air, and these can react with ozone molecules and basically reduces the amount of ozone in the layer. This is problematic because UV radiation is quite harmful to us and results in problems like skin cancer. Carbon dioxide is produced by combustion and respiration, volcanic activities, and weathering of carbonate rocks. And it can be removed by photosynthesis, dissolving in seawater, and formation of carbonate rocks. So the cycle of carbon is primarily regulated by the activities in bold. So it's produced in combustion and respiration and is removed by photosynthesis. So this helps to maintain the levels of carbon dioxide in the atmosphere. Global warming is a major problem, and I hope that you've already heard of this. And so we have carbon dioxide and methane, and these are the main greenhouse gases that enhance the greenhouse effect. What happens is that you have radiation traveling from the sun to the earth, and it's reflected on the surface of earth back to space. Sun radiation will be reflected back to the earth by the greenhouse gases. This radiation warms up the sun naturally, and this is actually important to maintain the temperature on earth. However, when you have an excessive amount of greenhouse gases, there is an excessive amount of heat being trapped, which causes the greenhouse effect to be further enhanced, and that is the reason why the earth now is getting hotter and hotter, and you have ice caps in the Arctic and the Antarctic that are melting. So this is actually the module on air. It's actually pretty short, so hopefully you shouldn't have any problems understanding this topic. In the next module, we'll start on organic chemistry.